everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review some books, because don't we all like books? Yeah. So the idea of these book review videos is that I just talk for a few minutes about each book, what I thought of it, if I thought it was rubbish or good or okay. There are other things that I think about books other than those three things. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first book I read recently was We Should All Be Feminists by, I can't pronounce her name so I'm going to have to read it, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. You might know Adichie from TED Talks. So she did the We Should All Be Feminists TED Talk that I watched first. I watched that a few months ago. And it's also published in a book as well, quite a short little book. And I think it touches on lots of important things that I hadn't even thought about, and now I am aware of that. It's quite terrifying how sexist society is. So the thing that really stood out for me is when you go into a restaurant, she says, and you're with a man, so for example me and my boyfriend, me and my bien, go to a restaurant and the waiter or waitress or whatever comes up to you and talks to the man. And that does happen. It does happen. I've had that loads of times. I would be going to a restaurant tomorrow, in fact, and I'm going to have a look out for it and see if it happens again, because sexism, innit? Men equal money. No. No, no, no. The only thing, I did read another feminist book, which I'll talk about in a minute. The only thing that saddens me about modern feminism, a lot of modern feminism, is that it's very female orientated. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is there are other kinds of people, like trans people. For God's sake, trans people have life even harder than women. And, you know, this book didn't go into that whatsoever. And the next book I read, Women in Power by Mary Beard, it had the exact same problem. It brought up again many interesting issues. My favourite one was that female politicians tend to wear suits a lot. Why is that? Is that because they want to look like men? I still have mixed feelings about that. I think it's just looking smart, to be honest. I don't think women think I need to look like a man. But then also I do think it's... I don't know what my feelings are. But my point is, trans people are not talked about at all in either of these. And I think feminism really needs to, you know, start pulling its finger out and talk about transgender people as well, because it's just female focused, women focused, cis women focused, and it's just can't be dealing with it. No, be more inclusive. Thank you. Phew. Moving on from that, I've got the physical copy here, The Confessions of Frannie Langton by Sarah Collins. So this is a historical fiction book, and it's set in 19th century, I believe, 1800s, and it follows the life of Frannie Langton. So she is born in Jamaica, I believe. Is it Jamaica? It's somewhere in the West Indies, and she's basically a slave her whole life. She doesn't really have any independence at all, and she's taken into England because, again, for money, for power, that kind of thing. Oh God, I'm explaining this terribly, aren't I? Basically, this man is in control of her life all the time, and he takes her back from her homeland to England to sell her off as a slave. At least I think he sells her off. Oh my God, I'm such a terrible booktuber. But either way, she lives in this house of this very privileged man, and it just follows her story there. I found that, again, historical fiction I'm getting more into. I did find it slow in areas. Yeah, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the plot. It just felt a little long in areas. And the ending was really sad. But I'm happy that it was sad, because too many books have happy endings. That's not real life. That's not real life. So yeah, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I'm such a terrible booktuber. Can someone just cancel me? Not cancel me. I hope no one cancels me. I'm not that bad a person, am I? Right, next I read We Are Okay by Nina lacour. Beautiful cover. Beautiful cover. I did a review of this over on my channel somewhere. Yeah, I enjoyed this book. It's a YA. It's I can't really talk about it without spoiling it. But let's just say it's, again, very sad, because we all know I like sad books. It's about this young girl who goes off to university, and she basically just isolates herself from everyone. She had the best summer of her life, and then it all just went horribly wrong. And it's about her feelings, coping with that. I think did I give this 4 or 5 stars? I don't know. I don't really care about stars, to be honest. But yeah, I enjoyed that. But yeah. Again, another drinking game. Every time I say but yeah, have a shot. You'll be absolutely wasted. Next, I read The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by, what's his name? L. Frank Baum. L. Frank Baum, is that right? Okay, so most of us probably know The Wizard of Oz. We think we know the plot. I thought I knew the plot, and then I read it, and I was like,
what?
Like, the last third, maybe not third, maybe quarter of the book, I was just like, what the hell? I knew nothing about this. So that came as a surprise. I like it. I think it's quite similar in some ways to Alice in Wonderland, in that, not too similar, but that lots of random things, not random, it just feels like the plot goes a bit like this, and lots of new things are happening all the time, especially near the end, which I really liked. It's very imaginative, I think. Again, I did quite well. I enjoyed this book also, especially the ending, because I was like, I don't know this ending, man. I don't know it. And I thought it's better than the famous film's ending. What was it? 1927? I don't know. 1928? I don't know. Yeah, book, good. Next. Ha 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 ho hee ha. Da 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 da. I love this book so much. I love it. I read this at the end of December. It's one of my favourite books. It's A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. It's very violent, but the language, hooey, the language is beautiful. Again, I did another video of this, a live stream of this through Dystopian December. Just, the language is just impeccable. It's amazing. He basically creates a whole new slang language, and it's just, I've never read anything like it. This is a reread for me, and I can't stop thinking about it. Since December, I just keep on thinking, I want to read it again. I want to read it again. It's about a boy named Alex. He's very violent. I don't want to spoil it, but then something happens, and then he's not violent anymore. And then in the end he chooses, oh no, I can't spoil it. I can't spoil it. You need to read it, man. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. Excellent. Beautiful. 5 stars, obviously. Next. No, I didn't read that. Yeah, I did read this next. Monstress. I don't get it. I just didn't get it. I don't get why it's so popular, because I didn't understand any of it. I didn't understand the plot. The characters, like, they look pretty similar. And the clothes, I just can't differentiate between a lot of the characters in it. I'm like, I just don't get it. Just don't get it. That's the end of the review. Next I read, this bad boy, 1984. I did read read along of this. So if you want my thoughts, I mean, I've got like nearly an hour of footage on my thoughts about this. Follows Winston, very dystopian society, and it's about him being a rebel, and then him not being a rebel anymore. Very oppressive society, lots of surveillance, which I think is going to happen in a few decades' time. We're all going to be spied on, permanently spied on. Makes you very paranoid. Excellent book. Again, if you want to hear more of my opinions, I'll link it somewhere. That's what the proper people do. I'll link it somewhere around. Next, I read The Porpoise by Mark Haddon. Now, most of you will know Mark Haddon from The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which I think is an okay book. I think it might be a bit problematic. A tiny bit problematic. But overall, a good book. The Porpoise is very, very different. It's based on, what mythology is it? Is it Norse mythology? I didn't even know that. So, I did know that, but only when I read in the sleeve, that or Goodreads or something rather, that it was based on Norse mythology or some kind of mythology. I was enjoying it a lot, the first 50 pages, and then it just got crazy and weird, and I didn't like it anymore. I just thought you had such a good story. So it follows lots of different stories. But at the beginning, I thought it was only following one story. I was like, yeah, I care about this story. And then it just showed other stories, and like, I don't care about these. And I thought it was a contemporary. I thought it was set in a contemporary society, but then it just went back hundreds of years, and I thought, nah, I don't care. I just didn't care. I didn't care. Next, I read Station 11 by, what's her name? Emily St. John Mandel. I was going to say co-read it. I didn't co-read it. I buddy read this with Brafey from Stardust Stories. And, oh my god. So, you know this coronavirus thing's coming out. I'm, like, really panicking. Because Station 11 is... I can't spoil it. I'm going to put my hands up because I need to talk about this, otherwise I can't talk about what I'm going to say. Basically, people get the flu and loads of people die, and it's horrible. And the coronavirus, I know it's not the same thing, but now the coronavirus has come out, I'm like, oh my god, Station 11 is going to happen. But it's not, because it just isn't. It's basically kind of a post-apocalyptic, post-flu world. I really enjoyed it, oh my god, especially the first few chapters. I was like, shocked. So yeah, that was a banging book, and I really enjoyed the audiobook, even though the reader said etc. all the time, which annoyed me. It's not etc, it's etc. God, know your Latin. I don't know my Latin. I got told off for saying etc my whole life, so there we go. Next, I read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. I don't know why I'm singing. This is a book about why we sleep, if you can believe it. My first podcast episode is going to be of this. I haven't done it yet. It might be out now. I don't know. What can I say about this book other than it's about why we sleep? I learnt many things, which you can go and see in my podcast. There are a few things that are missed out, which I was sad about. I don't know if that's because there's no research, but it was just completely ignored. But overall, this was an excellent book on why we sleep. Would definitely recommend it. Also, there's loads of references to where I live now, and that made me happy. That was pretty cool. So yeah, good non-fic. Ugh, I can't believe it's just said non-fic. We're getting there, lads. The Starless Sea, Erin Morgenstern. Okay, this is a height book, I would say. Mixed feelings. I felt it was a bit jagged in its plot. I felt like the characters were a bit pretentious. But the world it's set in, I think is really cool. Don't really understand it. It's a bit too metaphorical for my liking. But God, look at the cover. Look at the damn thing. It's beautiful. The setting kind of is beautiful. That was my favourite thing about it. But other than that, I just don't know. It wasn't as good as the Night Circus. It wasn't as good as the Night Circus. Again, it's magical realism. I can't really tell you what it's about because I don't really know what it's about. You have to go and read it. Go and read it and tell me what it's about, because God, I don't know what it's about. And lastly, I'm sad we're leaving on a sad note. I don't know any synonyms for sad. This is Pleasure by Mary Gaitskill. I'm gonna go with Gaitskill. This is about the Me Too movement. And it's terrible. It's really bad. So basically, the moral of this story is that it's the women's fault that Me Too exists. I think that's all I can say really about this. The woman, follows two characters. It's first person. It follows a lady and it follows a man. And the lady is... I was going to swear. The lady is really, really damn stupid. And the man is a horrible misogynist. But, here's the thing that happens. The man tries to sexually assault her, and she's like, no, don't do that. And he doesn't. And then she becomes friends with him. And then she backs him up when he does horrible sexual assaulty things. I'm like, okay, you're part of the problem, woman. You're part of the problem. So her message, Mary Gaitskill, oh my god, terrible human. So there we go. Those are some books I read. Sorry it's a bit miserable, but there we go. Oh god, I have to try and pick these up now, don't I? Some books I read. There we go. Yeah, pretty good overall, but I don't know, nothing really to call home about, I'm afraid. So sorry about that miserable ending. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!